rocking a Damier Louis bucket. Bitch on the plane with 50 P's in her luggage. The bezel on the 41mm flooded. With the drama I love it. I know how to.
You tune into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and Sandman. Going in today on this Tuesday, I want to say peace to everybody listening on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. If you can, please just share this link with a friend. Tell them that the Uncensored Truth podcast is on the air right now. I want to move to this next story, Sandman, and talk about, the Oscars, but most notably Billy Porter, you know what I mean, who, stole the show, so to say, with this dress. Well, we're going to talk about it. As the family can see there, the dress on the screen there. He wore this at the Oscars, and pretty much his goal was, and I'll read what he said. He said, "My goal is to be a walking piece of political art every time I show up, to challenge expectations. What is masculinity? What does that mean? Women show up in pants every day, but the minute a man wears a dress, the C's part." Now, Porter said this in a Time magazine, interview. Sandman, what are your thoughts as we see him on the screen there in a dress? The top, obviously, we see it looks like something that a man would wear, with the bow tie. But then you go down, it's a dress. What are your thoughts?
Well, according to him, a man will wear all of that. And according to him, that should be accepted. That should be accepted. Now, here's my thing. Mm-hmm. Just as equal and just as much as people applaud him for standing up and doing this and liking this, we also have equal right to not like it. And I don't. And I don't have a problem with you going ahead and doing it. What I do have a little bit of issue with is the outpouring of females who outwardly support this. And my question is, and shout out to the people listening on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play, but if all of your men, and if you salute all of your men doing this, how the fuck are you getting pregnant? Who's dicking you down? That's my problem. Like you overly promote this, and then we give problem to, and we have issue with masculinity and us supporting masculinity. Now, why can't we outwardly support a strong man opening a business or starting an entrepreneurship from the ground up and support that and say that's the highlighters, or bring one of them on? We got to sit there and outwardly promote this. And the fact that I cannot help to say it, and I hate to bring race into this, a black man sitting here like this and it's stealing the fucking show. Really?
Yeah, it's really, troubling, to see that. For me, I got to be honest. But before I get into my opinion on this, definitely I want to ask you about another specific part of what he said, since you want to roll there. He talked about how women show up in pants. What do you think about that aspect? How women can wear pants, and that's, traditionally seen as male wear. But then, if a guy wears a dress, as he says, then everybody's up in arms like, oh, this is so offensive. What do you think about that particular statement?
I think it's a great mind fuck to the people. I think it's a great mind fuck to the people. Now, listen, with all due respect to my man in the dress, if you have a little boy wearing that to school, he can't play football in that shit. He can't play basketball in that shit unless you Prince. Now, he had a blouse on. He still had pants on. You can't do boy things in this. Now, I mean, if you want to go walk a fucking runway, you can go do this and different things. And I'm not, if you want to go walk a runway as a boy, go ahead. But let that be your choice. Don't let that be something that's promoted and pushed and programmed inside of you early, where you may not have a father around to slap you upside the head and tell you to check that shit if that's not what he wants to do. I'm just saying that people have such a problem when you speak out, and we're not out here fucking throwing pickets out, not saying that we should boycott this dude. This man deserves to make a living and do what you do. If you got your lane, go ahead and win in your lane. But just as equally, if y'all say yes and all that bullshit to this, we can right to go, nah, man, this fuck this.
Yeah, and it's something that, you should have the right to say, look, son, I don't ever want you putting no shit like that on.
Tell him.
Ever, in your life. This is what we wear, and you could be comfortable being a man wearing what men wear. Women wear what women wear. Men wear what men wear. We don't have to compromise that. You'll be fine. You know what I mean? But hey, salute him for doing this thing, man. If he feels like he wants to make that his expression and cause some type of a uproar, it worked.
Man, be a male nurse. About it. Go be a male nurse. Go fucking do something that go against the grain. Go be a male basketball coach in a female league. Go do something that you can go and say, this is equal opportunity. You putting a dress on and saying that I'm going against the grain on what men, quote unquote, should be. No, listen, if you really want to go on science and life, Men have a penis, women have a vagina. Them motherfuckers connect. That's natural. You want to question shit?
I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, I think, to a sector of people. You know, some people may be supportive, but I say, like what you say, we got a right to say, look, we don't like this. You know what I mean? This is embarrassing for us. And I think that it is. I don't think that it's a fashion statement at all.
And by no stretch is anybody on here homophobic. Do what you do. Love who you love. Be with who you be with. The issue, and it's a very hot issue, and it should be addressed, is they over promote it and they sit there and they publicize it to where they almost sit there like this is the status quo in which you should be, and this is looked at and frowned upon. These are the guys that go to jail and the criminals and do this. These are the guys that are looked at for these jobs and these positions. And these are what men are supposed to be like. How are you supposed to procreate like that? Let's really get to a serious objective here.
I want to ask you about this also, because we actually didn't talk about this. We actually meant to on a podcast, but it's actually a perfect segue. The Super Bowl happened, and one thing we found out is that the first set of male cheerleaders, you know, I don't think they showed them too much, you know, would pretty much be, you know, in the NFL. I'm not, maybe even in the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I think the St. Louis Rams, 2 men. What do you feel about that? Male cheerleaders making breakthroughs now in the NFL.
I don't have a problem with male cheerleaders making a breakthrough in the NFL, but what I do have a problem with is them combining these two and having them jump around and do acts as opposed to showing and promoting this. Why can't 2 males of a homosexual preference continue to do their jobs like anybody else would? Why can't they sit there and do whatever the cheerleaders are doing? Why they got to do it together? Why they got to promote them together in this act, in this overexposing homosexuality, in bringing them almost close into their bedroom? That's fucked up. Why are you doing that for? I don't give a fuck who you sleeping with, but why do you have to overly promote it?
You don't really care that males want to cheerlead. You don't have a problem with that.
They did it. I mean, whatever. I ain't watching them anyway. If y'all want to cheerlead. When I don't want to see is you get throwing each other around and skipping and dancing and waltzing and shit. That's what I don't want to see. Why the fuck are you promoting that? I don't care who you sleep with. You don't see, they're not putting males and females over there doing that nasty shit. So what are y'all doing that? Why are y'all doing that with 2 males for? Or even 2 females to a certain degree.
I don't know the situation. You know, I don't know if they're brothers or whatnot, but
they brothers, but I don't know if they're brothers.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Partners.
I mean, this is America, so you're going to see, you know, all types of different type of things in America. You know, whether it be normal or abnormal. I
ain't got time. I mean, I don't say I don't got time. I ain't got no problem with that. Go ahead and do you. But it's just the over promotion of it and over just like you're trying to push an agenda is what I got.
What do you think about a man in a dress though? Period though, like just in general. What do you think that promotes to the children to see, like, you know, because we talked about Kevin, you know, that war, and numerous other people who have put on dresses, even played the role of a female. How does that psychologically affect a child, in your opinion, a male child?
That's a good question, man. And it stretches beyond. I mean, we've seen it throughout. Black, white, it's just actors, male actors throwing on dresses. We've seen it a lot. And I mean, I think that it naturally brings up a question in a lot of people's, a lot of boys' heads. I can honestly speak from my perspective. If I seen anything like that as a child, I would go, what the hell is that in my head? You know what I mean? It wasn't something that was naturally something that I could break down as natural in my head. I was always a male, a creature who did male things. And then eventually when I grew up and my balls dropped, I wanted to deal with females. Yeah. It was just something natural that usually came through me. So even seeing something like that was out of the norm for me. So I don't really think it plays a part in somebody's natural process. What I do feel as though starts playing a role is when we see that dress over again. And it's not now 7 or 8 year old seeing it. It's a 1 or 2 year old seeing it, whose body and mind is open to whatever. And now they're being programmed to understand that this is the way of life. Now you're confusing a lot of motherfuckers because you're taking somebody's natural thought, but you're programming them this way. Like, we got to be careful. It's a mental war going on right now. Yeah,
no doubt, man. But you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sandman. Going in today on this Tuesday, everybody that's listening on YouTube, I need you to do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button right there on the screen and make sure that you share this video. I'm going to jump to this next story, Sandman. We want to go and talk about Colin Kaepernick once again, because the story came out that pretty much that the XFL was pretty much, you know, wanted to bring Colin Kaepernick over there as opposed to going to the NFL, but he was pretty much asking, you know, for $20 million. So they pretty much, you know, didn't have the money to give him. But it brought up a question once again you know, with Colin Kaepernick. And I played an excerpt from Stephen A. Smith going in about Colin Kaepernick's settlement with the NFL. And we talked about it, you know, in the segment last week. But there's another angle that I want to, you know, kind of approach right here. And I want to play this Stephen A. Smith excerpt. And then I want to talk about Colin Kaepernick and just talk.